Hello guys, welcome, and today I'll be going over the main differences between King and Armor King. And this may seem pretty obvious, but the thing is that a lot of people ask this question and there aren't many answers around the internet. So this video is really a shortcut. This video is the end all be all guide for you guys if you want to know the differences. Maybe you want to main Armor King, maybe you want to buy Armor King and you think he's a clone character, but he's not. And this is what the whole purpose of this video is. All timestamps are in the description below. I'll be doing an overview of King first. Then I'll do an overview of Armor King, so you get to know them personally before we compare them. Then I'll also talk about their similarities. And then we get to the juicy part, we talk about their differences. Now let's talk about King. King is a grapple-based character, which means he is gonna throw you. He is gonna throw your ass around. However, that's not only that. There are a lot of things about him, and we'll go deeper into it. First off, he has pretty good throws. Giant Swing, Tombstone Piledriver, Shining Wizard, Rock Bottom, and all those different things. However, he doesn't really have much of a poke game when you think about it. He has pretty good. You could consider a few moves like the one you're seeing right now as a poke, but compared to characters like Alisa, Dragunov, Lee, that's not that great. And he basically has mids, good mids, high damaging mids, which crack a lot. So it's really hard sidestepping him. But at the same time, they're pretty slow, easy to interrupt, easy to counter hit, and that's really one thing. Like, let's take an example here. Forward 1. You could really interrupt that move. Let's see here. Forward 4, back 4, down forward 3. These are all slow, but high damaging, good strong mids, which are pretty good. So that's his main thing. That's where he really excels at. He has a really good setup game, but that's really part of that's the end part when I talk about their differences. So that's pretty much King. He is basically a throw-based character, not much pokes, good strong mids. He has a pretty good juggle damage, pretty high, slightly above average. And that's how he plays it. You set your opponent out with a throw, good Okizeme, one of the best in the game. And that Okizeme part will come at the end. Now we get to Armor King. Now Armor King is based more around the Mishima playstyle. He is a pseudo Mishima. This means that he has tools similar to that of a Mishima character. For example, he has his own Wind God Fist, as you can see here. Now this isn't the Electric Wind God Fist, so it's basically the regular Wind God Fist, the easy one. This means that it is minus 10 on block. So I wouldn't really recommend you throw this and use this as carelessly as you would using the electrics, but it's still a really great whiff punisher. A lot of characters wish they had this, so it's really good tool. This character has. This Armor King has the Mishima Wave Dash, as you can see here. The Mishima style Wave Dash. This is pretty good for his Wave Dash 50-50, which a lot of Mishima players have. At the same time, Armor King also has Crouch Dash moves like Crouch Dash 1, Crouch Dash 3, and all the basic stuff. However, he also has a good poke game, down forward 1, down forward 4, then he has his up forward 3, good basic pokes, pretty good. A bit more on the defensive side, but that's not really relevant over here. Then let's see here, what else does he have? He has the usual same throws that King has. Throws like Shining Wizard. He has the usual Giant Swing. It's a different animation, but it's the same concept. You tap 1 to break it, and it does pretty much the same damage, and all that. That's basically Armor King. He's a Mishima style character with a Wind God Fist, great pokes, and all that. He has a throw game as well. He has some pretty good throws. For example, this one. good damage as well. Armour King has pretty good damage as well. His combos damage is pretty above average. Gets up to 75, which is pretty high. And if you bring in the wall, then yeah, he takes away more than half your health. So you know that's Armour King. Now let's talk about the similarities. Now, King and Armour King are different, but they're quite similar at the same time. This part of the video is usually for you people who main one of them and you want to switch over to the other one. Let's say if you play King and you want to play Armour King instead. So this will really help you guys out, so you know what you should actually learn, the new stuff Armour King has compared to King. You know, and it also applies for people who play Armour King and want to switch over to King. So, in terms of similarities, they basically share moves. For example, down by 4. There you go. Forward 2, 1. Down 3. Yeah, down 3, as you can see there. Shining Wizard. Yeah, that happened. And all that. They have their giant swing, as you can see here. Of course, it's that. Giant swing. That's all. They both have a down back 3, which is a counter hit launcher. It's different animations, but it has a similar purpose. Slow, reactable low, counter hit launches, yeah, as you can see here. And all that. That's pretty much King and Armour King in terms of their similarities. They both have Mexican Magma Drive 1, although Armour King's is slightly different. Less extensions, I would say. King has Meta Chain to it, but that's not really relevant in this point. But so you can see here, you know, they're similar, but they only share a couple of moves. I would say they're a lot more different than you think. Sharing a few moves does really make two characters same. It's like comparing Heihachi to Kazuya. Fundamentally, they're different characters, even though they share similar moves. Now let's talk about their differences. This is probably why you clicked on the video in the first place. This is the main course of the entire video. So in terms of difference, I'm going to show you the Shining Wizard for both of these characters, and then you will see how different they are. For example, King Shining Wizard. Look at that. And then yeah, you see that? Just watch where he is. Look at the position. King is right next to his opponent, and the opponent is on the ground while he is standing. As soon as he hits that Shining Wizard, I have the option of going for follow-up attacks. You can go for other options. You can go for grounded throws, down forward 4, down 3. That's his, like I said, setups, Okizeme. That's King's basically. Look at another throw of his. This is the Muscle Buster. And I have, yeah, as you can see here. Of course, it's not guaranteed, but it's depending on the situation, what the opponent does, you have different options to follow up. That's King's throw. I showed you. That's King's throw game, basically. King's throw game is basically supposed to open your opponent up for follow-up attacks. Like I said, amazing Okizeme. Good setup potential. That's King. Let me show you Armour King's Shining Wizard and another one of his throw, as you can see here. So as you can see, Armour King, his Shining Wizard. Yeah, there it is. Armour King decides to take a big chill as soon as he hits his Shining Wizard. It's like he's accomplished the world after this. That's pretty much it. This is because Armour King doesn't really have any good Okizeme. Look at that. And this really goes in well with his character. Both of their Shining Wizards really reflect what they're all about. Armour King, for example, his throw game is pretty good. He has some good throws, but they're meant to damage your opponent over time. That's why they're not really giving you any potential Okizeme. That's not how you're supposed to play Armour King. He has a few setups, which I'm not really going to go into detail, but he has a few setups. I'll show you guys later, but it's not too much. King is more of a setup character with his Muscle Buster, his chain throws, his Shining Wizard, and his Rock Bottom. The whole point of those moves is to give you more Okizeme, good follow-up attacks. Armour King, on the other hand, he is built more around the traditional Tekken character with pokes, a good whip punisher like electric, like his dark uppercut, crouch dash moves. That's it. That's Armour King. So King is really different. He's really unorthodox. If you're looking, really in conclusion, if you're looking for a character who's very different from your usual main, let's say if you play Lee, who's a poke-based character, and you want to play someone who's very different, maybe you like wrestling,
for example, and King's your answer. He has good wrestling moves, he has throws, the grapples, he has all that. He plays with setups in a similar fashion how Randy Orton sets his opponent up for an RKO as soon as he hits it, as soon as he pins the opponent down. That's how a WWE match goes on, and that's really how King is supposed to be played. You collect plus frames from your opponent, and then, for example, what? Okay, anyway, so you collect plus frames from your opponent, and then you basically follow them up. For example, forward 1 plus 4, and then you do a giant swing. You know, you need to know your frames with King, and King is a pretty complicated character. You need to make sure what frames you have. You have to learn his entire move list, and then you have to know how to use those moves. You can't really skip even one of those moves, and you have to know those moves and use them in the right time. Armour King, on the other hand, doesn't really have a huge move list. It's not that much. It's actually pretty simple. I'll show you. You can just see how small his move list is compared to King. Look at that. Yeah, look at that. It's pretty small. So Armour King, but however, Armour King is more towards the execution side. He has higher execution, which is expected from a character who's a very Mishima style character with electrics and crotch dash moves. He's very reliant on those moves, and that's really Armour King. He relies a lot on those moves, so he has a hard execution, especially if you want to do crotch dash, dark uppercut into crotch dash 1, because you do this and then you do your crotch dash 1 and that's pretty hard to do. It requires practice. King, on the other hand, he has a more complex gameplay. He has, like I said, a huge move list. You have to know using this move list. You have to, get plus frames, so know the effect each frames has. He can get pretty complex. Of course, to master King will take a longer time to master Armour King. That's the fact. And in the end, so just to conclude all of this, if you're looking for a poke-based Mishima basic fundamental character, Armour King is here, built more around a traditional Tekken character. Pokes, setups, basic throws. Like Armour King's throws, they just do damage over time. No Okuzemi really. King, on the other hand, he is meant to basically set your opponent up. You throw a lot with your opponent. You throw your opponent around. You basically set your opponent up for follow-up attacks with your Okuzemi and all that, and that's pretty much it. King is a bit different. Setups, throws. Armour King, throws, pokes, and damaging, high damage, and that's pretty much it. Yeah, and that's it. Hope this really helped you guys out. If you've stayed this long, thank you guys for watching. Really, I hope this really cleared up all of your confusion. Hope this really helped you guys out. I hope you now have an easy time choosing between those two. And really, leave any suggestions if you want to. I would make some extra guides as well. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Bye.